Really?
Just a minute.
Have you been seeing anything unusual?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2025 horror film Control Freak. The film is written and directed by Charles Nagot and it stars Kelly Marie Tran, Miles Robbins, Kay Sheen and Tone Lee. Now the film focuses on Kelly Marie Tran's character, Valerie. Now, she is a motivational speaker and life coach, and a very popular one at that. It's kind of made her fortune. She's just preparing to go on like a world tour. However, she starts getting this insatiable itch on her head that just will not stop or go away. She's itching and itching and itching, and it's literally 24 hours a day. She researches what it potentially could be. She basically makes it so sore, it's bleeding, so she has to wear hats. It's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And essentially, it turns out when she speaks to her family members and her father, it's explained to her that she potentially has some kind of demonic spirit possessing her from her childhood, and it is like been brought on her. It's like a family curse sort of thing. She obviously doesn't believe this for a second, but it gets to the point in the film where it kind of starts to become undeniable and she has to take drastic measures to deal with this situation. Right, what are my thoughts on Control Freak? Well, honestly, when I started watching this film, I wasn't impressed. It took far too long to get going for me. I didn't know what kind of horror it was going to be, not really. And the character of Valerie, played by Kelly Marie Tran, her character was very, very unlikable. She was just not a nice person. She was arrogant. She was self-centered. Not an enjoyable protagonist of the film, sort of thing. Not that you couldn't relate to in any way. So I was really struggling for the first. I want to say about between 20 minutes and 30 minutes of the film, and I was even considering, sort of not finishing it, because I'm kind of at the stage these days where if a film doesn't kind of grab me, and it doesn't kind of hold my attention, or if I think it's going to be garbage, essentially, quite a lot of the times, I'll kind of, I won't waste my time with them. Sometimes I'll just turn them off, because, I've been burnt so many times by, movies that turn out to be absolutely terrible. But I have to be honest, I'm glad I persevered with this one a little bit. Now, I'm not saying that this is turned into like a real classic or anything, but when it started turning into like a possession film, or like a demonic possession film, started getting more interesting. I started then connecting to this character. I started kind of feeling for her a little bit, because essentially her life gets stripped away from her as the film progresses. Her career is well respected, like I say, a life coach stroke motivational speaker. She's got all these commitments she's got to do throughout her life with her fame and everything, and she can't do any of that. She's got a husband played by Miles Robbins, and that's falling to pieces, that relationship, and all because of this damn itch that she's got on her head, that is just getting worse and worse and worse, and it just it keeps slowly going up and up and up and raising the stakes, this film. And that's kind of what I enjoyed about it. It got more and more intense as the film progressed. So starts off very low key, like I say, quite unlikable in some ways. But if you're prepared and you're quite patient, this film will slowly increment up to the point where it makes it quite an interesting watch for the most part, and you do end up eventually connecting to this person due to all the circumstances in the film. I've seen a lot of possession films over the years, and this one has quite a different twist on it in a lot of ways. I really enjoyed the design of this entity, I suppose we could call it. It was designed quite well. I like the fact, that it's almost like part of her in a sense, the way it's kind of presented in the film. And then it kind of takes another twist later on in the film, because it starts becoming a body horror in a lot of ways. Now, I'm not a big fan of body horror. I've said this before in reviews. So it's not one of those where you kind of like makes you feel ill body horrors. I mean, there is one scene that was a bit grossy, to do with, the thing on her head sort of thing. And then, like I say, it gets really quite extreme by the end in regards to the violence, the length she goes to try and deal with what's happening to her, deal with this entity, and again, this veers into body horror type stuff. And like I say, it just keeps escalating up and escalating up, keeps going and going and going and going, until we get to the conclusion of the film that, while the ending makes sense, it's one of those endings where you're kind of like, hang on a minute, if that's all you had to do, why didn't you just do this? It's one of those where you're kind of like, ooh, is that all you needed to do, really? You didn't really need to do all the other things you did to try and get to that point. The clues are all there, what you needed to do, wasn't there? So it is one of those where you kind of think, yeah, that was a bit silly, wasn't it, if that's all you needed to do to deal with this thing. But I have to say that sometimes films do surprise you. Sometimes they do win you over, and this is one of them. I mean, like I say, this won't, be one of my films of the year or anything like that. I probably am going to give it a 6 out of 10 or something like that. But at one point, it was a 4 out of 10. So that tells you really how it kind of won me over a little bit by the end of the film. So if it sounds interesting to you, sort of thing, then I think you might find some aspects of this film quite good. You do have to be quite patient, though, is what I will say, to get the payoff of this film. But there is one in there if you're prepared to kind of withstand some slow pace, I would suggest, for the first 30 minutes of the film. So thanks for checking out this review, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it useful. I will, of course, be back with more content on the channel very, very soon.